Hello, YouTube viewers. What I have here is a Stevens Model 820B pump shotgun. This particular one has a weak slide lock spring, so I'm going to take it apart, give it a good cleaning, and replace a few parts. Now luckily, you can still find parts for this at Numrick Gun Parts Corp. The two parts that you'll need are the slide lock spring and the slide lock spring stud, which ran me $8.45 after shipping. Now the first thing you'll need is a small screwdriver to remove the recoil pad from the buttstock. I recommend that you alternate screws so that it doesn't break as you remove it. They get brittle as they age, so you will see a few shavings on your screwdriver. The next tool you'll need is a long, flathead screwdriver to remove the stock bolt. Once you've removed the stock bolt, you can slide the stock off of the receiver. At this point, you will need a third medium-sized flathead screwdriver to remove the trigger guard screw. With the trigger guard screw partially backed out, you should flip the receiver over and punch out the trigger plate pin. Once removed, the trigger guard will slide out, revealing the action assembly. It's fairly difficult to remove or replace the slide lock without damaging the spring. I recommend replacing the spring and spring stud if you have to do any work with it. To remove the slide lock, simply rotate it slightly, then lift it out of place. On the back of the slide lock, you'll find the slide lock spring and stud. The slide lock spring stud is very malleable and can be removed with a pair of pliers or vice grips. Before we can replace the spring, however, we need to remove a few more parts. If the lifter hasn't fallen off already, go ahead and remove it. Next, you can use the sharp end of the slide lock lever to remove the mainspring plunger. Insert the sharp end between the plunger and the hammer, then rotate the slide lock lever forward. This will compress the spring enough for it to slide out from behind the hammer. With the mainspring plunger removed, we can now replace the slide lock spring. The slide lock spring rests on top of the hammer and hooks over the hammer pin. When the hammer is moved to its forwardmost position, the slide lock spring moves forward with it. This puts it into position so that it fits inside the retaining hole of the slide lock lever. This top view shows how the slide lock spring fits between the hammer and the trigger guard. Next, we need to secure the slide lock spring to the slide lock using the slide lock spring stud. This is where you need a few extra tools. The slide lock spring stud needs to be peened into place, but it's not exactly in an easy spot to get to. So I used a bolt and vice grips as my anvil. I was able to use the bolt to hold the slide lock spring stud in place as I turned it over. From there, you can peen the stud flat until it's flush with the slide lock lever. With the slide lock spring in place, the hammer will move the slide lock down as it moves to its forwardmost position. Now to replace the mainspring plunger. I use the trigger plate pin as a guide, allowing me to slide the plunger down over the notch in the back of the hammer. Next, we replace the lifter and slide the trigger guard assembly back into the receiver. Replace the trigger plate pin from left to right, then screw in the trigger guard screw. Next, replace the stock and tighten the stock bolt. Then replace the recoil pad, remembering to alternate screws as you tighten it down. With a good cleaning and a new slide lock spring, this beauty is ready to be taken out and enjoyed again. I hope this helps, and good luck.